You guys know that on this channel, we love bringing attention to a lot of great Japanese RPGs, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 upcoming JRPGs for the rest of 2018 across all platforms. Now, you might be surprised in thinking that there are actually 10 more JRPGs that are to come in 2018, but yes, that is the case. Japanese RPGs are really seeing a resurgence this generation, and there are a lot of exciting titles that are coming out. And just in these latter months of 2018, we're seeing a lot more JRPGs be released. So without further ado, let's get right into this, and starting off in no particular order, we have Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. Now, I thought it would be best to mention this one right off the bat because we are just coming up on the release of it. It's releasing in 48 hours as of recording this video. And Dragon Quest is finally returning to form in a traditional turn-based RPG. We saw some spin-off Dragon Quest games, and they were actually pretty good. The Dragon Quest Warriors games were alright, as were the Dragon Quest Builders games. They were nice spin-off titles, but we wanted a traditional DQ title, and that's exactly what DQ11 is, and the reviews are already coming out for the game, and they are looking very positive. The visuals are looking stunning, and it's still retaining its turn-based style of combat, and I'm very much for that. Let's have one RPG franchise that sticks to its roots, and it looks like DQ is doing that with DQ11, and it's dropping on September 4th. Next up, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has been one of the best Nintendo Switch games that has been released so far, and one of the best JRPGs that's been released all this generation. It's up there with games like Persona 5, and the main game was very good. It had a ton of content, and it was a very lengthy experience, but now we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country, which is an expansion. This new game will feature a brand new story and adventure which takes place 500 years before the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country drops on September 14th. Next up, we have Valkyria Chronicles 4. Yes, Valkyria Chronicles is finally making a comeback with Valkyria Chronicles 4. This is so exciting to see because I never thought that we would be seeing a new Valkyria Chronicles mainline entry that would actually come stateside. After Valkyria Chronicles 1 didn't do all too well commercially, Valkyria Chronicles 2 being relegated to a PlayStation Portable title, and Valkyria Chronicles 3 not even being released over here in the States, the likelihood of Valkyria Chronicles 4 seemed very, very low, but after the release of Valkyria Chronicles Remastered and that doing pretty well, the door was open for Valkyria Chronicles 4, and here we have it, a game that takes place parallel to the first title, but as far as gameplay goes, looks pretty similar and looks to be that great tactics-based gameplay that we know and love. And on top of that, this will once again be a very story-driven adventure. Valkyria Chronicles 4 drops on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on September 25th.
Believe in our goal and keep moving. We will rise again, fight for our fallen brethren, and overcome the Imperial Army.
We've got heavy blood loss from the femoral artery and severe burns on his right upper arm. You're safe now. Hang in there!
We will live to see Hoffen again.
We will. Together.
Next up, we have Metal Max Xeno. Metal Max is one of those lower-key Japanese RPG franchises that not a lot of people know about, but it's finally making a comeback, and with its first PlayStation 4 entry with Metal Max Xeno. There's vehicle warfare, there's turn-based combat, and it's coming at you at a budget price point of $39.99, so that's always pretty nice, and it's actually being released on the same day as Valkyria Chronicles 4, so I think as far as choosing a JRPG, most people will probably go with VC4, but Metal Max Xeno is another one to have your eyes on. It's dropping on September 25th exclusively to the PlayStation 4. Next up, we have a game that some of you guys are going to debate with me whether or not it's a JRPG. It's a Japanese game, it's got RPG mechanics, therefore I'm calling it a JRPG, and that is Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is combining the Fist of the North Star IP, one of the most famed Japanese IPs ever, and the gameplay style of Yakuza, so those two mixing together, that sounds awesome. It's a game that I'm still not sold on, but we just found out that there will be a demo for the game available on September 4th, so if you want a little bit of a taste of the game, you'll be able to do so that way way, and Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise will be released exclusively to the PlayStation 4 on October 2nd.
Exploding five-finger strike! Bone Demolisher!
Next up, we have Disgaea 1 Complete. Disgaea is another underrated Japanese RPG franchise, and honestly, I can see why it's a little bit underrated. It's got a little bit of a learning curve to it. The visuals aren't anything to write home about. Even the latest entry of Disgaea 5, when you look at the game, you don't really think this is a new PlayStation 4 title when you look at Disgaea 5. It's definitely got that old school look to it, but these are games with a lot of complexity, a lot of content, and games that are very, very addicting. And now we have the very first game, Disgaea 1, returning on the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch with Disgaea 1 Complete. This version will include additional content, refinements, all that good stuff that you would expect out of a re-release. Just like with all of the other Disgaea games, with Disgaea 1 Complete, you're going to be sinking a ton of time into this one, so try to clear out your backlog just a little bit before you tackle Disgaea 1 Complete. It's dropping on PS4 and Nintendo Switch on October 9th.
Why is it that you refuse to believe in love?
I guess you're right, dude. I'll get to work. Dude!
Next up, we have a pair of Dark Souls releases that I want to mention in one go. We have Dark Souls Remastered on Nintendo Switch, and we have the Dark Souls Trilogy coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, neither of these are entirely new games, but having Dark Souls on the go on the Nintendo Switch is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think that's a game that's going to do very well on the Nintendo Switch. And then with Dark Souls Trilogy, you're getting all of the Dark Souls content in one package. This includes Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3, with all of the game's respective DLC content. It is coming at a steep price point of $79.99, so that is one thing I definitely want to mention. However, to get all of that content in one package, I think $79.99 is an okay price. I would have liked to see that $59.99, but it looks like they're going for a similar formula that they did with the Naruto Legacy Collection. That was $79.99 and it included a lot of games. This one's a trilogy and it includes all the Dark Souls experiences. For the Dark Souls fans, I feel like we've bought Dark Souls several times at this point, but having it on the go on the Nintendo Switch is very exciting, and for newcomers, the trilogy will be a nice pickup. Both of those are dropping on October 19th. Next up, we have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Yes, Pokemon is finally hitting the Nintendo Switch, now with a brand new generation. However, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is encompassing the first generation, and it is looking very good, and I think this is the perfect type of game to release first on the Nintendo Switch. If you're doing a new generation, a lot of people that have a Nintendo Switch but haven't been familiarized with Pokemon recently might look at the new Pokemon and be a little turned off, but with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, Pikachu and Eevee are very iconic mascots of Pokemon, so anybody can really relate to that. Even if you're a younger Pokemon fan, Pikachu and Eevee have sustained as two of the most popular characters, and if you're an older fan, of course you know Pikachu and Eevee. And the first generation just has a ton of iconic Pokemon with it, so having this be the first breakthrough Nintendo Switch Pokemon title, I think it's a pretty good idea. We do know that there will be a new generation Pokemon title in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, so if you're waiting on that, more power to you. But if you want Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are shaping up very nicely. They're dropping on November 16th. Next though, we have probably my most anticipated JRPG for the rest of the year, and that is Tales of Vesperia, the definitive edition. Finally, Tales of Vesperia is releasing in its definitive form. If you don't know, this was a JRPG that originally released as an Xbox 360 exclusive. Yes, you don't see a ton of those, but it released exclusively to the Xbox 360. It didn't do all too well commercially over here stateside. However, it did see a re-release on the PlayStation 3 over in Japan, and that version added a ton of content, new characters, more voice voice acting, new lines of dialogue, and it was without a doubt the best version of the game. And for the longest time, us over here in the States have not been able to experience that version, but that is finally changing. We're getting Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, and it is looking awesome. Tales of Vesperia itself, in my opinion, is one of the best Tales of games. It has one of the best main characters in all of JRPGs with Yuri, and it just has a great cast of characters and a fantastic story as well, and a ton of content and hours to be sunk into this game. We still don't have an exact release date for Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, but we do know it's coming in 2018. And lastly, we have a brand new PC exclusive JRPG, and that is Edge of Eternity. Now, Edge of Eternity was a game that was kickstarted, and I imagine after its PC release, it is going to be coming to the consoles as well. I believe that's actually announced, but Edge of Eternity will be hitting Steam's early access program later this year. This game is shaping up very nicely, combining mechanics of a Western RPG and a JRPG, but really looking like a JRPG at its core. It touts a unique and grand tale of hope and sacrifice, an epic soundtrack, a riveting story with numerous plot twists and heart-wrenching moments, a gorgeous world with unique environments, and the ability to solve quests in multiple ways. Edge of Eternity is a JRPG that's been forgotten about a little bit since its announcement, but since it's hitting Steam's early access program, I imagine the anticipation to ramp back up for this game as it's dropping on November 29th. That's gonna conclude this video. Those are the top 10 JRPGs for the rest of 2018. What do you think? Which Japanese RPGs are you the most excited for the rest of the year? A lot of very exciting titles. DQ11 looks awesome. For those of you with a Nintendo Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country looks great. Great to see Valkyria Chronicles back with Valkyria Chronicles 4, and it's gonna be awesome to see Tales of Vesperia in its definitive form with Tales of Vesperia, the Definitive Edition. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.